Is this a story of Fed independence or retribution or both?
Both. Hi, Joe. It's good to be with you. I obviously don't have all of the details. I'm probably learning things from you and from other people, but I deeply believe in the independence of the Federal Reserve, the independence of the chair, and we know that the president is someone who believes in retribution. So I suspect the story is both, and I am committed to a system of checks and balances that our forefathers established when they wrote the Constitution. And what we're hearing is not something that should make anybody in America feel good. We need an independent Federal Reserve to protect our economy.
Well, it seems that you're on the same page as French Hill and even Tom Tillis next door in the Senate. Do you take heart in the chairman of Financial Services calling this an unnecessary distraction? He's obviously not in the president's corner on this. Did Donald Trump find the line in the Republican-led House?
Well, I think you've been seeing cracks over the last couple of weeks in both the health care bill that happened in the House last week and in the War Powers Act. I think people are home. They are hearing from people that they are unhappy, that they are scared. I mean, there are a lot of different issues here. You know, on health care, millions of Americans have lost their health insurance and can't afford it, and they're speaking up to whoever their senator or their congressman is. I think a lot of people are not only worried about what happened in Venezuela, but when you talk about invading Greenland or bombing Mexico or going into Cuba, or President Trump campaigned on ending wars, not on starting wars. When I'm home, people's heads are spinning. There's so many issues that they care about. And I don't care if you're a Republican or a Democrat, a lot of Americans have questions and are worried.
Well, I'd love to hear more about the drive to address health care premiums. Congresswoman, we were on Capitol Hill last week on Thursday evening when I believe it was 17 Republicans crossed the aisle to vote for the discharge petition to revive enhanced Obamacare subsidies that expired at the end of last year. It's on the Senate now, and it looks like there is a bill. The Bernie Moreno bill is coming together in a way that might bring Republicans and Democrats together. If that passes, would that then lead to a conference committee? How does this become a piece of legislation that both chambers can address?
So it obviously is on the Senate next. I met with those, the Republican and Democratic senators last week, had very candid discussions. We understand that there has been agreement that there would be a 2-year extension in the health care tax credits. There are a number of other issues that are being worked on. We're going to have to see what the text of that bill is. But, you know, I'm in this because I have the University of Michigan Hospital. I have so many people that I've met and talked with over the last few months, the human stories that are there. People are crying. People are scared. People really are living in a world that they can't afford insurance. They're looking at the choice between food on their table and whether they can get health insurance. I, for one, am somebody that believes that, you know, we in America spend twice as much as any other industrialized nation in the world and have worse health outcomes. If you're sick, you should be able to go to the doctor when you need to go to the doctor and get the medicine you need. How we work that out, I'm willing to work with everybody and anybody, but our health care system is broken right now. And I know there are members on both sides that want to work together on it. And I don't want to wait till November. We need to be doing it now.
Looks like that might be the case. Bernie Moreno says he intends to get 35 Republican votes for an eventual bill, Congresswoman. That would be very convincing. The president would have to sign that, no?
I think that on health care, I think that the president understands that this is a major issue for him. Was not there, but I had reports that occurred that were reported from the Republican retreat last week. And my understanding is the president told them to be flexible. Anybody who's out there, anybody who doesn't hide from their constituents knows there is a problem with the healthcare system in America right now.
Well, I tell you what, There's also the matter of funding the government, Congresswoman, and I don't know if you see a connection between these two, if there needs to be a deal on health care. But I get the sense in every conversation we have with lawmakers that there's really no appetite for a shutdown, save a few outliers. That doesn't eliminate the idea, though, of sleepwalking into a shutdown. And based on what we're seeing in Minneapolis now, the administration doubling down with ICE agents following the fatal shooting that took place last week, there is a new concern that funding for Homeland, for instance, might be bogged down in debate over what took place involving ICE and similar deployments around the country, and that we slide into a shutdown. Where's your head on this today?
So I would like to say that you're probably accurate in what you're reporting, but want to put that in further context. There have been many deep discussions about how we keep the government running. And we voted on appropriation bills last week in the House, and we will be voting on other bills this week. So they are reaching agreement. The Republicans are backing off in some of the deep cuts that they wanted. We are finding consensus. So I think most appropriation bills are likely to get passed by January 30th. But that I would take Homeland Security and ICE as a separate issue. I think people are looking for answers about what happened in Minneapolis. When you have a senseless loss of life, you become concerned. What's happening on the training? When the last words you hear a woman say is, "It's okay, I'm not mad at you," and she's dead 30 seconds to a minute later, that bothers a lot of people. So I think a lot of questions are being asked. I don't know what's going to happen. I think all other bills will get passed. If I had to make a prediction, there isn't the appetite, but I think it is legitimate for questions to be asked, and we'll have to see how this all plays off. But those questions cannot not be asked.
What do you make of, you've been in this business and around this business for a minute, Congresswoman, this Rorschach test that we're seeing now, not only the rush to judgment, but the predictability based on people's political affiliations on what they're concluding from these videos. How dangerous is this?
It's dangerous. You know, I want to say that Tom Homan, who is a seasoned, I probably don't agree with him on many of the things he has said. The first thing he said is, we need a transparent and deep investigation. He didn't rush to clear anybody. He didn't rush to call someone a domestic terrorist. We need the facts. And we have got to start getting back to facts. We have to, and we need that transparency. You know, everybody wants to be safe, okay? And the immigration discussion is a separate discussion. But it isn't, I mean, being safe also depends upon public trust and those that have the responsibility to keep you safe. So it's not contrary to say thank you to those that are keeping us safe, but ask questions when someone has been senseless. Senseless is a judgmental issue, but when someone's been shot and killed, you need to ask questions. And people saw those videos. And I quite frankly had wished that the Secretary of Homeland Security hadn't rushed out there and called this woman a domestic terrorist. She didn't have any more facts than I had. Like jumping and not getting the facts are deeply, deeply disturbing. And there have been a lot of people that have analyzed the tapes and raised a lot of fair questions.
It's all amplified by social media. And you really do worry about this trend accelerating. The rush to judgment seems to get faster each time, Congresswoman. I need to ask you about the president's trip to Michigan tomorrow. He's bringing the affordability message back on the road, and there's going to be a speech that I'm sure we'll all be listening to and watching in Detroit. I don't know if you're going to be there for the speech or if you plan to watch it. But he's also going to be touring a Ford factory tomorrow, according to the press secretary. What would be your message to Donald Trump before he lands in your state to talk affordability?
Well, I want to say to people, I have been at the last two Detroit Economic Club speeches that he spoke at. I, at 2 o'clock tomorrow, will be in a hearing on the auto industry on 12 bills, 3 of which are mine, including autonomous vehicles. So I'm doing what I'm supposed to do, which is to protect the industry that I represent. I will watch the speech. But if I were to say anything to the president, I would say you need to help keep this domestic auto industry strong. We have been a global leader. They can't constantly be a ping pong ball. Every business in this country needs certainty. Cars are becoming too expensive. I agree with the president on tariffs against China. We need a level playing field in. We're not playing on a level playing field against China. They're manipulating their currency, subsidizing their products, losing slave labor. But this industry needs certainty, and they haven't had it. And I want to work together with my colleagues on both sides of the aisle and with the president to have a stable environment to keep our domestic auto industry affordable and a global leader.